I'm not concerned with what God you choose to worship or what you may even call that entity, or if you're religious or not religious at all. What I do know is, irregardless to that, we share commonality. We all share commonality, and that's the good and bad things happen to everyone. And that when those bad forces happen, they tend to show up and scramble things at the most inopportune time. It could come in the form of people doing or saying things, prior arrangements falling through, sickness, injury, financial constraint, divorce, or some other thing. But, those bad things, they show up. And so it's your duty, your obligation to your success, to your livelihood, to your survival or serenity. Your obligation is to show up too. Be just as consistent and unwavering to achieve your goal as these things and these misfortunes and mishaps are in delaying or stopping you. Be conscious of knowing when anything can go wrong, it will. And it did. And it happened to me. And this is my story.
Modus the one.
The streets don't love you, they never will. The streets full of smoke and mirrors, it's never real. The streets got the boys shooting like a Navy SEAL until the shot missed them off and get a baby kill. The streets not in the game, the streets will tell. Working people don't hustle with you, the streets will tell. And hope you rot behind bars or die in a cell. Them people want you in the jail, you make their life a living hell.
All for your love of the streets, you never getting back. And you gonna die in these streets, and that's that. Don't believe the streets are half of these niggas who rap. Didn't have a dollar in the trap.
Well, if there is a proper way to apologize, I would say that be remorseful. Let the person that you are trying to apologize to understand that you are sorry for what you've done. You feel some regrets for what you've done or any pain that you might have caused them. Take responsibility for whatever action or whatever was said that had them feeling that way, or had the discontent between the two of you, or you or a group of people, or whatever the situation may be. Take responsibility, take accountability of that action. And obviously, those things are making amends to, or an attempt, I would say at least, to make an amends to move forward, so that you can have these situations resolved. And I don't know, I guess I'm trying to ensure the person that it wouldn't happen again. That you're not a repeat offender on said violation or said situation or act that will cause the discontent. So, yeah, try to make amends, take responsibility, be remorseful, and try not to make it happen again, and try to ensure and instill that insurance in the person that it wouldn't happen again. Yeah, that would be my apology. Can you promise that it won't happen again? Well, a promise is hard. A promise is hard, and unfortunately, promises are made to be broken. Not that if I'm apologizing for my part or my actions that help play this situation out, my apology, I would definitively promise to not be in a situation that would have them feeling this way or myself feeling this way again. But I don't know. I wouldn't. I don't know. If you feel that you've been wrong, have you forgiven anybody that have wronged you? Well, I first have to forgive myself for the mistakes I've made, for the mistakes that have may have caused people heartache harm, hatred, ill thoughts about me, anything that I've done to them to make them feel that way about me, I would apologize for, and I have to forgive myself for making them feel that way. My actions may have not been the best, and I have to acknowledge that. I have to acknowledge that maybe I was the problem, or at a bare minimum, I could have been part of the problem. So I had to come into a space where I had to forgive myself first, and I had to get myself right. And so now I'm making an attempt to move on and get a few things straight.
Why would you say that you're a failure?
Well, I would say I was a failure, and I've said I was a failure because that's what it was. I failed, right? I failed. I wasn't successful in everything, right? There were some things that I just fell short of the mark. And the same intensity and the same level of scrutiny that I would use to examine somebody else's actions or their shortcomings, I have to use to measure mine. I mean, I got to be held accountable by the same rules and laws that I'm holding everybody else accountable with. I'll be a hypocrite. And so, if it's a failure, it's a failure. Am I proud of it? Oddly enough, yeah, kind of, sort of. Maybe not all of my failures, but I could tell you that the things that I've failed in and the things that I've had shortcomings in, they help build character. They reminded me and humbled me that I was human, that I wasn't Superman or super dad or super husband or super soldier. And far too often sometimes when we're riding that high horse, we may get caught up in that rapture of being that guy, or having that success. So I embrace the failure. I embrace the failure, and I call it a failure because that's what it is. And I failed. I failed at things, and I will continue to fail at some things. I'm not going to be perfect. I'm not going to do everything right. But you show me somebody who is perfect. You show me somebody else who does everything right. I would probably ask them, are they any kin to Jesus?
Why would you use the word failure?
So you use the word fail to recognize it, to be in tune with it. And again, like I said, to humble yourself and keep yourself grounded. You can use these other words, like sometimes you hear me say shortcoming, but it's a failure. It's a failure. And why wouldn't I use the word failure? Again, I'm not letting a failure define who I am. I'm not letting a failure dictate my character, my characteristics, or any attributes that I may have. It's just what it is. LeBron James misses a shot. LeBron James plays a basketball game. He may shoot 35 times, but only make 12 buckets. Nobody says he's a failure because of the percentile rate. But in anything else you did, if you only 12 out of 40 buckets, you say, hey, man, that's not the greatest shooting in the world. That's how life is sometimes. Sometimes we don't shoot the greatest, but it's the end result that counts. And I'm still working on my end result. So because I'm still working on my end result, I can look back and say, yeah, I failed. I didn't make all the shots. But it's okay. Because, when you're that good of a player, you can miss a dunk and still make the highlight reel. And I missed some dunks. And I made the highlight reel quite a few times. So I'm okay with saying I was a failure.
But how would you have wanted things to play out?
Well, I would have wanted things to play out like a fairy tale. I would have wanted the happily ever after. I would have wanted the, super duper 1000% successful. Everybody's at the top of their game success. I would have not wanted to have my family in the despair that it's been in for, the last 14 years as it's been in. So yeah, I would have wanted it to play out differently. I would have wanted it to play out differently. Yeah. I would have above all else, divorce, separation, trial, tribulation, miscommunication. I would have wanted everyone to at least remain amicable. And at this point, I'm not. The four of them still coexist. I'm the outsider. It's like I'm the dog outside the gate trying to get back in. So I wish, well, I would have hoped that it wouldn't have played out like this.